There's usually I think a holding slide. Otherwise,
No, that's absolutely fine.
over
We'll
to
kick
Richard.
off anyway. The slide says inspiration. And on that note, as you all know, each week we welcome to our NFG stage one of our highly talented members or special guests with something designed to help you and your business. I've known our next guest since the beginning of Networking for Good. And as a founding member of Networking for Good, after spending 21 years in the motor industry, from car sales to running dealerships, he's now changed his career as he was coming up to his 40th birthday and started his own financial advice company. But during the last 12 months alone, we've seen him look to the stars, build a new office, and invigorate his financial advisory business, barely breaking a sweat. Although he's based in East Anglia, the location offers no boundaries, just like his willingness to help. Always with time for others, he looks to the future, focusing on timely preparation for the years to come. With a talk titled How to Improve Your Time Management, we bring to you our very own Michael Duale. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Good morning. I like how you won that one, winged it. That's good. I like it. So good morning, everyone. Everyone knows me. I'd like to think so anyway. I'm the annoying one with the dulcet tones. So unfortunately, you've got to put up with me for the next 10, 15 minutes. And bear in mind, I've got quite a few coaches I'm looking at, either in sales or business and everything like that. This is quite a daunting subject, really, for me, because this is just, I've been taught this over the years. I'm not a teacher in any way, shape or form, so please don't scathe me at the end. So this is just my take on it, really. And time management is quite interesting. Being in the automotive industry for quite a few years and running dealerships, I used to talk to a lot of my staff about this because I think it's really quite an important subject. And when Selena spoke about it, this is basically what I sort of put together. So how do we actually manage time? It's one of those questions, really, that a lot of people always think. So you don't really. You have to manage yourself. Time, you are in charge of your own destiny from that point of view. So you manage yourself. And remember, busy isn't always productive. Where used to have people running around, look like they'd catch fire if they wore a shell suit. In the showroom, and it just doesn't mean that they're actually they're very productive. And that's the key. It's just all about thinking about time and how you manage time. And I think from that side of things. So the 7 Habits by Stephen Covey, there's a part in there which there was this, again, I'll go back to the car sales days because that's basically where a lot of my time was spent, especially when I was in this sort of role. And they said, well, I'm too busy. But are you too busy? You'll always find, if you go back to your principles, you'll always find time to do something that you want to do. If it's to go and watch a football match or go to church or spend money, you'll always find time to do stuff that you want to do rather than time that you should be doing. For example, prospecting, for example, from us as a business owner, we should be doing some prospecting. If it's 1, 2, 5, 10, 15 calls a week, we should all be doing that. But we always put it on the back of our list because we never have time, we're too busy. But if you actually did find time, then that could work in your favor. So it's always quite interesting. If you work on something that's close to you and close to your heart, then you always find time to do it. And that's the key to that. Next slide that I sort of went through, and I just put these together back from the day when I used to do this. But everyone's sort of seen this time management matrix, I'm sure, and it always brings back to roost. And I think that's the whole idea of today. I don't want to teach anyone to suck eggs because most people have done this or know about this anyway. But it's just my sort of take on it, really. And there was again, when I had a sales team or a service department in front of me, I'd always bring up these 4 boxes, and I'd get them to write their task in each of those 4 boxes. And I'd ask them to be honest with themselves, because if you're not being honest with yourself, there's no point doing this sort of exercise. But look at it, and again, obviously, the bottom right one, the not urgent, not important one, we shouldn't be doing these. And again, I think it's sometimes good to go back and actually think, okay, what am I doing? Whereabouts does that sit in that matrix, etc. It's good just to focus on this and just refresh ourselves sometime. Then you've got the not important and the urgent one. And again, this is something that is quite urgent, important. Quite urgent, but not important, because you keep on putting it off. You keep on putting it off, keep putting it off, and then it just rises head. Oh, crumbs, I've got to do something with this now. But why is it coming up? And again, it's understanding that process. And from a leader's point of view, that's the sort of thing you want to try and get rid of, because it takes up so much more of your time. The one above, obviously urgent and important. Again, it's what we do most days, unfortunately. It's firefighting. You're fighting whatever's coming at you at any point in time. And again, from that side of things, it's very good, but is it very productive? And that's where the last box comes in. And again, the answer to the question there was, where would a good leader focus their efforts? And it's in the top right. It's important, but not urgent. And the question is always why. But what the why behind that is because it's time to look at what the other three boxes do for yourself. You take a step back and understand why the urgent, not important ones are keep on coming up. Why are you not firefighting or planning them into your diary before that becomes too urgent and it looks rushed, and you could rush something that could make you money? And it might be in your focus. It might not be important to you, but it might be important to the client that you're dealing with. And then again, look at the urgent stuff. Why are you firefighting? What can you do to make your time easier and more manageable moving forward? But it's also taking time out of your business and working on your business rather than in your business. And I think a lot of people don't do that necessarily. I was told this when I first went self-employed, and I was told that once a month you should spend at least half a day working on your business rather than in your business. And I've actually taken that to the extreme, where I do traditionally do that in the morning, and then in the afternoon I play golf. But that's not it. But it's good to be able to do something like that. It's good to be creative. It's understanding where you're going, you're planning, looking at your business plan. Is it work? Does it work with me? Does it work with my business? And that sort of thing. So again, it's good maybe sometimes after this today, you just write those 4 boxes down, and the tasks that you do for the rest of the day or tomorrow, just to have a refresh on them and see if they have any interest. I've got some productivity tips. Again, something that I was sort of highlighting to a lot of my staff back in the day. Emails, they ping. They may be pinging now in the background, ping, and you have a look at it. Don't be a slave to your emails. Again, personally, do them twice a day, 3 times a day. Do them first thing in the morning, maybe at 10, maybe at 2, and maybe at the end of the day, maybe do something like that. People don't expect a response straight away. If you are, then you're actually fighting against it, because you should be focusing on what you're doing there rather than worrying about that email that's coming in. So it's just trying to make sure it's more pressure to you, and you're in control of it rather than the email in control of it. It's no different to Facebook and everything like that. It's just this is the way that society is nowadays. Set clear goals and stick to them. Again, I do, as you know, I did a presentation end of last year about the 135 business plan. Have your aspiration. Where are you going to be this time next year? Look back at what your passions are, what your principles are, what your business plan tells you should be doing. If it's on there, excellent, spend time on it. If it's not in there, question to yourself, should I be spending, or how much time am I going to dedicate to this if it's not part of my overall business plan? Maybe it's something to do next year. Again, it's all these little questions that you may want to ask yourself and may want to understand. Learn to say no as well. I know a couple of people that will always say yes to everything. Even though they're busy, they'll always say yes, and they don't always then do a great job. I know someone in Norwich that was another copywriter, and they just kept on saying yes, and then obviously got children, being last year with work from home sort of thing, schools are at home, all that sort of thing, and it got out of the way, and she had to rush this bit of copywriting through, and she lost the client because it wasn't good enough. Take a step back, and is it time for you to say no, or ask for someone's help, or just have communication with the client? I don't like to-do lists. I used to write a list of everything I had to do today. I've come away from that, and to be fair, when I was reviewing this slide profile, last week I was doing to-do lists. This week I'm not, because it's true. You can cause yourself some anxiety if you haven't done your to-do list, and that to-do list never stops. Because as soon as you strike one off, there's always one at the bottom. Plan it in your diary. We all run diaries. Just put it in there. And to be honest, if you know that tomorrow I'm going to write that letter, you can forget about it today and focus on what you've got to do today. So it's just things like that sort of work better for you. Could do. It doesn't work for everyone, as I said. when would be a good time? Just get started. Again, going back to prospecting, as I said, the sales staff had to do 10 prospect calls a day. Oh, I do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. As soon as I've done everything else, talked, walked, and done everything I need to. Oh, we run out of time. I can't do it today. I have to do it tomorrow. Try it. Start today. Just do one now, and you'll get into a routine. Get into a way of doing it, and you'll get it done. And also, you'll be a lot more productive. Rather than thinking about it, worrying about it, if you just did it, then it may work better for you. Again, me personally, started off from a business. It's me, myself, and I. I now have a power planner and I have a personal assistant that I use. And I think that's really important to me. And it took a lot for me to be able to give up some of my work because it's my brand, my company, my business, and I want to make sure that comes across right. But it's taken me time to train my staff that I use to make sure that they do that. And it was a stressful point because I was busy. I was also training them. I was also doing some of the jobs twice in some respects. But now I'm in a different ballpark. I now have a lot more time to myself, so I can work on my business. And I think that's really important. I think people think, oh, it's quicker if I do it myself. But overall, you're not going to grow your business if that's the case, and that's your mindset. Plan me time. Again, people know that I like playing golf. Andy plays golf 4 or 5 times a week if he didn't have a broken foot. But again, instead of just playing golf all day like Andy, what you should maybe do is just say, okay, if I do these 20 phone calls, or if I do X amount of business, or I get this client on board, then do some your own me time. Plan some of that for you, because I think it's really good to reward yourself. And budget your time. We only have 1,440 minutes a day. It's like spending money. How would you spend your £1,440? You spend it wisely. Don't waste it. Life is too short. I saw a graph the other day, which was quite fascinating. It had the average life expectancy of a man, and you could put yourself in over weeks. So it's all the weeks of up until the average age of a man dies, unfortunately, 84 years old. So, and when you actually see how many weeks you've actually used, we're running out of time. And you don't want to waste your time, you want to enjoy your time. So it's all about time and understanding it, also from a business point of view, but also personally too. And that's why you should always justify your sort of at the next point is your hourly rate. Again, going back to delegation from the last slide, again, what are you worth per hour? Does everyone know what they're worth per hour? Do you know what your hourly rate is? And it's something that I look at. And again, one of the reasons why I took on extra members of staff, because why would I go to the photocopy and photocopy 20 things at, say, £60 an hour when I've got an administrator that I'm charging £10 an hour for? I can get a lot more out of my hourly rate than I can theirs. So it's understanding that and justifying it to yourself. If you want to do it, then do it. But just understand that your hourly rate is worth maybe that little bit more. Again, that's pretty obviously really eliminate things that waste your time. Create wiggle room in your. Don't put back to back. I always think of a doctor's surgery. When do you ever go to a doctor's surgery? Well, not really do anymore, but back in the day, when you go to a doctor's surgery, I've got a 2 o'clock appointment. Yeah, at 3:15, you're still waiting there because it's back to back to back, and one runs over, the other one runs over, and it just gets spirals out. Just give some time in between, because again, it's there. It's your clients that you're talking to. Last thing you want to be is late for a meeting. Take breaks. Again, I think on average it's about an hour and a half that someone can really focus on anything. I'm doing studying now from a chartered. I've got 2 exams to get to chartered, and I'm studying for that, and I'm doing them in 1.5 hour blocks. I'll spend an hour and a half, and then I'll have half an hour off, and then I'll do some work, and then I go have some time off again, coffee, walk, whatever that may be, and then do another 1.5 hours. Put your workload into blocks. If you're doing there 8 till 6, straight to the computer, by halfway through the day, you're not actually being that productive at all. Again, this bit always sort of, everyone says that, look at when something goes bad. So something went really bad last week. What went wrong? Analyze it, look at it, what actually went wrong. What we should also do is look at the good things. Last week was a brilliant week. What made last week really, really great? Reflect on what the good things are rather than just the bad things sometimes. Because even you say, well, it was just one of those weeks, it really went well. Well, no, it doesn't always go really well. You've done something to do that. It might be some marketing, advertising, it might be your attitude to prospecting, it may be just referrals, whatever that may be. Something went right. focus on it and look at it and use that as moving that way forward. And again, in the motor industry, it was always that. It was always about focusing on the good things rather than negative things, because if you're in that mindset, you're on the right side of things. And don't forget to stop, look back at what you've done, and look how far you've come. I think I mentioned it last week, actually. It just take stock of where you are and your business. Me 5 years ago, I didn't have a business, and now I'm like, not blowing my own trumpet, I'm quite really successful, and I love it. And I love being that way in mind. And I think I'm really proud of what I've done. And that's then sort of inspires me to go further and do more. So again, do it for yourself. Again, what consequences of not doing this? I'll quickly run through this because we're running out of time. But again, you can get stressed, you're burnt out. You can get that work-life balance. It impacts on your relationships, personal, and obviously work relationships too. You can not necessarily have a succession plan. It's leadership that's really important when you run your own business or you're in a part of a business. Leadership is really, really important, and it's taking that time back to think about it and look at your creativity and your progression on that sort of side of things too.